go. So, Amy, how are you today?
I'm well. That was so seamless. Usually, I'm not good with tech, and like, see, it doesn't go this well. So we're off to a good start.
Perfect. I love it. I love it. You know, it's so interesting because every now and then when I'm like editing the video to put it on YouTube, sometimes for some of the videos, there's like 4 minutes of like practically myself just, just kind of waiting, be like, okay, anytime now.
You're like, any minute now. Yeah.
Any minute,
well, here we are.
Or they will tune in, and I'm like, yeah, perfect, and then they look out. I'm like, you gotta be kidding.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, waiting again. So yeah.
You're like, what do I do? You just start telling stories about just anything. Oh, this one time
Usually when people tune in and they don't see nothing, I'm like, yeah, we'll be right back. Then they just look out. I'm like, okay, someone will come at some point.
Yeah, you're like, bye.
Yeah, but anyway, welcome back.
Anyway,
it's so
thank
amazing
you.
to have
so
you back
good to
here.
see you again. Yeah.
When was the last time we talked? We talked when, like November? Was it for Halloween, right?
Yes, it was Halloween, because I remember you telling scary stories, and Dan, I'm not kidding you, I did not sleep for like a good few nights after you told that story.
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah. I loved all of those episodes. I mean, what I ended up doing at the end, I mean, it was just a chaos, because at the end, since I was like the Halloween ones, I did have other ones to put. So I was just like, okay, I need to rush, like to put all of them, like really. And I did listen to like all of them, and they were really cool. I loved them. All of them.
Yeah. Those are some great stories you told.
I actually have new ideas for like this Halloween. Like probably I'm just gonna get like a mask or something, and just put it on while I'm doing like the whole stuff.
Oh, good. Okay.
But of course, I mean, not like a scary mask. I'm thinking more like, for example, like Deadpool or Spider-Man, something like that.
Oh yes. Okay. I will always get behind a Marvel themed.
Right.
That is,
Right. That was super cool. So I'm still working into a lot of stuff to add to the channel as well. I mean, it's been crazy. It's been like this past, like at the end of last year. Yeah, I was just like thinking like how much videos that I ended up doing, and like all of the content that is coming soon, and like all of the stuff that I'm currently working on to putting here to the page. And a friend of mine recently was like, hey, I think that I'm gonna do a podcast, and I was just laughing. And then he was like, laughing. I was like, you have no idea what you're doing.
You're like, say goodbye to your life, my friend.
Yeah, because it basically, I ended up finding, I think the last time we talked, I wasn't at a job at that moment. So later I did find a job, which basically pays the bills. But what I ended up discovering is that, so basically it's like in the morning I work, and then once I'm done, then I jump to the podcast, and once I'm done with the podcast, then to the YouTube one, and I ended up basically every night until like around 12 a.m. and I'm like, okay, that's the way it is, I think.
Matt, I mean, I was looking through all your stuff and everything that you've got going on, the podcast, the YouTube, this, and I was like, I kid you not, I was just thinking to myself, oh my goodness, how does he like juggle all of these hats? What? Wear all of these hats? Juggle all these balls? There we go. I'm not from this country. I don't know these things. Anyway,
we're fine.
I was just thinking, like, that's so much that you have going on, but you're always so like on top of it. At least anytime I talk to you, you seem to just be like, oh yes, we're doing this now. You're never like,
I mean, the behind the scenes, of course, and I'm like constantly frustrated, but like that's the part like that nobody knows, of course. We are also adding gameplays, which is really cool. It is something that I wanted to do for a very long time, and I'm finally be able to do gameplays now. So I'm currently doing gameplays as well. So
amazing.
That's a lot of stuff. Also movie reviews. I'm working on this section to add movie reviews.
Love
I actually have one video good to go for YouTube, and more stuff. And I'm also, but that is like a long-term project. In this place that I used to work a couple of years ago, when they fired me, I ended up, because they fired me in the most ridiculous way, right? So I was just, the other day I was just like talking about it, and then a friend of mine was telling me, why don't you do kind of a show about it? And I was like, what do you mean? Yeah. I mean, people love comedy, so why don't you talk about your experience and you do like your own show? And I was like, really? And he was like, yeah. I mean, check this out. You can get the chance like to to play all of the characters. So you will probably, if you're gonna play a female, you're gonna put a wig and go for it, and like all of that. And I was like, really? And then he was like, dude, come on, you have like a lot of it. You interview actors, you have a lot of techniques and things to do, how to write on the script. So I'm pretty much you're good to go. And I was like, yeah, good point. So I'm currently working on that too, but that is like a long term. Probably that project would land the moment that I get get the chance like to gather more people to it, Yeah. But that is like an idea that I'm like working every now and then when I have like free time. I'm working on the script, and it's really good actually. I'm actually proud of what I'm doing. So yeah.
Yay! I mean, I love sketch comedy, and that sounds similar to that sounds amazing. So you'll have a viewer in me, Dan.
I love it. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm still working on that. But yeah, it's really cool. As I said, it's been such an amazing experience, and it's definitely one of the things that I do love. I like this whole podcast thing and all of the amazing people, I mean, you included, of course, that I have met throughout this month. It's just unbelievable, and it is something that I love, and yeah, we're still doing, and we're adding more stuff. I mean, I'm not gonna stop until I basically get the chance like to add like more stuff and kind of to make it more into a show. You know what I mean? Like we got interviews, yeah, but we're gonna have comedy, we're gonna have gameplay, we're gonna have movie reviews, we're gonna have like all different types of stuff. So then more people can just stay in the channel and just like play around, see like, okay, I'm gonna watch this or this. So yeah, with the gameplays, as I said, it is something that I always wanted to do, but it's so funny because I usually do the gameplays on Twitch, but even though that I call it Chat with Dan, when I play, I'm silent. so there is no chat at all. So I'm just like waiting. I'm like, yeah, at some point people is gonna tune in the chat, and then I'm gonna be more talkative and everything. But at the moment, I'm just quiet playing. So yeah, it's good.
That's amazing. Okay, so this is really not my world. I'm terrible at video games. I try my best, but honestly, I just look at the floor the whole time because I'm terrible with the controls. And then I'll like finally figure out what I'm doing. And then I just like look at the sky, and then I die. So when you say gameplays, do you mean like literally just playing your way through a game and people watch you?
Yeah. Okay. I'm actually playing right now Horizon Forbidden West, which is the sequel of Horizon Zero Dawn. This amazing game is one of my favorites. And yeah, it's basically just me playing the whole game and discovering the story and everything. And yeah, I'm planning to add like more stuff, either with friends, for example. I do play sometimes with some friends. And I was thinking like, why not add that? But the problem is that we usually throw jokes, but you know what I mean. It's kind of it's comedy, but it's kind of dark comedy. So I'm kind of thinking like, I don't know if I should put this or not. Not do it at all.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, hopefully by the end of this year, my plan, hopefully if it works, is that by the end of this year, I can get the chance to have like a more solid platform. Now to be like just like a solid Chat with Dan platform, and yeah, we're working on that, but we're good. It's still one-man show, which I love it. No other people working here. Of course, and I would love someone who can help me editing. If anyone's watching this and want to help, just send me a DM later. And
this whole interview is actually just a pitch to help Dan with editing. So
I mean, we still don't have any money. Let me tell you that we still have any money. But I promise that once we get money, we're gonna get. I mean, everything's gonna be fine. At the moment, it's everything financed by me. But
amazing. You're just building an empire. That's so cool.
I mean, that's hopefully I get a chance to do that. And once we conquer America, then I'm gonna definitely move to Europe and try it there. So
hey,
we'll see what happens.
Chat with Dan Paris. I love it.
I love it. Yeah. Well, but as I said, I mean, there's still a lot of cool things, but at the same time, I mean, everything has been. I mean, at the same. It is also because of all of you guys that have given me the time to make this happen and to kind of pushing myself to keep growing and to keep like edit more stuff or to add more stuff. So at the end of the day, and I also said that also in one of the episodes that if Chat with Dan exists, it's basically because of you guys. Of all of the actors and amazing people that I've interviewed. It's because of you that this thing exists. So I'm always gonna be grateful for the time. So.
Well, I'm honored to be a part of it again.
Love it. So, before we start, you know what is going to happen. You know what I need to do. I mean, as soon as we get live audience, I mean, but at the moment, we're still, we're still small operation here and there, but
we'll just pretend you have a crowd in your room. Yeah.
So, there you go. Super cool.
Yes, amazing.
There we go. And so tell me, how, like, what's new since our last chat? What have you been up to?
Wow. Well, first of all, I just have to say, I just noticed 2 friends of mine on here, Lily and Sarah. So I just have to shout out to Ms. Lily Dennis and Miss Sarah Stoker, who are 2 of the greats. If they're still here. Hi, guys. What's new? Well, one of the things that is very new in that it literally just happened this morning, which is why my hair is straight. It's not usually I have like crazy curly Hermione Granger hair, but reason I'm all dolled up is because I recently did a series that we can talk about, but in that series there's one episode where my character has this like musical number at the end of one of the episodes. She kind of just it's like a daydream sequence, and they did it in the style of a Broadway musical, because that's just very much the character. She is the drama. And so this morning we performed that musical number live.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Beverly Hilton, which was amazing. Such a cool experience. Had like a whole team of dancers who are incredible, might I add. Dancers in general, I think, are incredible. Like, they're just so seamless. You know what I mean? Like, the choreographer would add like an entire section, and they would just be like, okay, no problem. And I'm like over here trying to remember the 3 steps she's given me. So yeah, it was really, really cool to be able to work with them and to kind of bust out the live performance chops again. I haven't sung live in quite a while, so it was an interesting. I had like a little. I don't know what the official name is, but I call it a Britney Spears mic. So I had my little Britney Spears mic, and I was out there jamming, and it was really fun. So yeah, I mean, I think that's like the newest of all of them. Yeah,
that is amazing. And how are things for you now that everything, is getting back to normal?
It's funny. It's like it is getting back to normal, but it's also not quite. I'm hearing people talking about like, oh, well, now that the pandemic's over, and it's like, is it over? But yeah, I mean, I think it is. It's definitely returning to some sense of normalcy. So that's great. Sarah just said, "Can we get a preview?"
Yeah, I was gonna ask you that.
No, Sarah.
I was gonna ask you that. Good one, Sarah. Yeah.
Oh no, my voice is just so tired.
Take your time.
Maybe later. Maybe it's
later.
If you would like a preview, you can go and watch PBC. How about that? Nice little plug there. But yeah, anyway, it's starting to return to some sense of normalcy, so that's really nice. I think the nicest thing in all of that is that I've started to get some in-person auditions again, mostly for commercial. It's starting to get really dark in here. Let me just do this. There we go. That's a bit better. I love in-person auditions, especially for commercials, because commercials are so much about like your personality and then being able to see like, I don't know, your vibe. And so it's really nice to be able to go back into the offices again for those. But yeah, still a lot of self-tapes and still just sort of chugging away. Yeah.
So, it's so interesting that as you mentioned, that everything looks like it's getting back to normal, but at the same time it's not.
Yeah.
And also it's like people already got used to it. Like the other day, there was this place here that they basically told that that no mask. That you can go. I mean, it's okay. No mask needed anymore in a mall. And like it's so interesting because even though that there is this sign saying like no mask needed, you will still see people like all of them with masks on. So I was interesting. I love it.
Yeah, I went to a restaurant the other day and they didn't require us to wear masks, and I like walked in and I felt so I like immediately I was like, oh, my mask, I always forget it, you know. And then they're like, no, it's fine. And I was like, are you sure? It's like such a, you know,
it's a whole like surreal stuff. It's so crazy. It's so crazy. But yeah, I mean, we did knew that at some point everything was gonna get back to normal, and thank God now that everything is getting back to normal. Because it was sometimes frustrating that if you go outside and you forgot your mask and you were like, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah.
And then you needed to go back or just buy one on the way, stuff like that. So
yeah. I'm so behind. I'm like I would always forget my mask, and I'm just getting to a point now where it's like the first thing I think about, and now they're like, you don't need it. And I'm like, I just put out.
I ended up having like the other day, I ended up having like 40 masks that I bought because I was losing one and buy one, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna put all of them in a box and just leave it there. And then when I realized, I was like, why I got so many too? I mean, I'm just one person and I need to why? So because I was constantly buying stuff. So
so true. But you know, industry-wise, it is nice that it's starting to feel a little bit more, you know, like auditions are picking up. There's more projects shooting. There's more variety in the projects that are shooting.
Yeah.
They're not so concerned about travel anymore. You know, I remember there was a time where I would be looking through, or I'm very lucky in that I have an agent who looks through auditions for me, but there would be these auditions that would come through and then they'd be like, but you have to be in Atlanta. And it was like, because they didn't want anyone to travel.
Yeah, of course.
So it is nice that things are starting to kind of like get back to where they were, or get back to a new sense of normal, I guess.
Yeah. Now, speaking about like what's new recently, we can see that you were in the web series PVC.
Yeah.
Tell me about that show. Let's talk about it.
Wow, let's talk about PVC. PVC is it's an office comedy, so very much in the style of The Office or Parks and Rec. It is, in my humble opinion, because obviously I'm very biased, but I think it's hilariously funny. I think everyone on the show is just incredible. They absolutely like nail their characters. The casting it's amazing. And so nice. And it's a show about accountants. So if you are an accountant, I hope that you will really enjoy the show, because we really took a lot of kind of painstaking measures to make sure that we were really accurate in portraying the world of accounting.
Yeah.
But if you are not an accountant, that's okay. If you don't understand accounting terms, you know what? Neither did we. We actually had a consultant on set with us they were incredibly generous in letting us improvise. And we had a consultant on set. His name's Drew Carrick. He's wonderful. And after like every take, he would run up to us and he'd be like, guys, that was great. That was so funny. No accountant would actually say what you just said, because that's not an accounting term. So we just need it, you know?
Of course.
We managed to get it pretty accurate with him there. But yeah, I mean, it's just a really fun office comedy about this group of accountants who work in the accounting department of a tech company. It's kind of a running joke that nobody actually knows what the tech company makes. We deal with the numbers. And yeah, there's a bunch of crazy characters, and the first season follows the end of year audit and kind of the all-out warfare between the accounting department and the auditing team, which is something that I didn't know that this was a thing. But every person that I've spoken to that works in finance, they're like, oh yeah, there it is. And so
I loved it. And, well, I think the show is super cool. I mean, those who haven't watched it, you should definitely watch it as soon as possible. It is super cool. I loved it. But tell me about your character, Michaela.
Yeah.
How you came up like with a personality for the character. I love the character. I love the character because it reminds me of a coworker that I used to have kind of at some point. And I was like, that's so hilarious. But like, I wonder, like in your case, how you came up with such personality, you know, because those who know you, I mean, they were like, that's not like, I mean, like that is like totally the opposite.
Yeah.
Like, how you came up with that?
Oh gosh, Michaela. She is phenomenal. I had such an amazing time playing her. So I think on paper, when I first read the script and started to look into this project and this character, I think on the page she can come across as very kind of like a valley girl, like, where's my boba, and like, don't do this, and this is my star sign or whatever. Okay. And no, that's not to throw shade at anyone who might be that person. That's just the way that she comes across. But I remember talking to the director about the character, and the reference that he gave was Aubrey Plaza's character in Parks and Rec, April Ludgate. And April Ludgate is like the complete opposite of that. She's like a very like quirky, bizarre, kind of sadistic at times. And I just loved that was the reference for her, because it was so unexpected, because she's pitched as this like preppy Gen Z social media activist, but then the Aubrey Plaza, the like April Ludgate reference is kind of like those two things seem to be in such opposition, and so it was really fun just being able to take those two things and kind of set about creating this character that is really, she's not any one thing. She's kind of the way that I kind of think about her is like, if anyone has watched any of these shows, I almost imagine that it's like if Dwight Schrute from The Office, April Ludgate from Parks and Rec, and David Rose from Schitt's Creek, like if the three of them had a baby, that would be Michaela, because she is slightly psychotic.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, just a little bit though.
Yeah, just a little, and slightly extreme, but also she is the drama. Do you know what I mean? Like, she is the moment. Everything in Michaela's world revolves around Michaela, and when she commits 100%. She's always got a new cause that she is championing. She doesn't really know a whole lot about the causes that she champions, because it's really just like whatever she's found on Instagram that day. But it's not shallow in the sense that she will 100% commit to it, to the point where it's like, maybe she burned down a building this morning. We don't know. We'll never know,
Well, maybe she did.
Maybe she probably did.
Probably did.
But for the record, she didn't, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's just, I don't know, it's just a really fun character to explore, and I was given a lot of freedom with just kind of playing around with her and who she is, and it's really fun to play a character that's just kind of bizarre, and in any given situation, whatever the most unexpected bizarre choices to make, that's the choice that she's gonna make. So it was just really fun to like be in any scene and just think like, what's the most unexpected thing that Michaela would do, because that's what she'd be doing,
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and actually I found it super cool that on the first episode, so they introduced all of the characters, but they kind of let them kind of be themselves for a while, you know what I mean? For example, with Michaela, that she would explain, but then she would go like a little bit on her own mind, and you're like,
yes,
like okay, but like that kind of stuff, I do like it. Like I do like it on shows when they will introduce the characters, but they will kind of let them be for a while, kind of to make it more natural. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes. And they really did. I think that's one of the reasons why it was so great to work on the show, is because they were so generous with just like the freedom that they gave us. Like, we would do these, the talking heads, or like the little interview portions, and they would literally just be like, talk, just whatever you want to say, and they would just let the camera roll, and you would just go, and then they would pick out the best bits of it. But it's just really, I don't know, I think it's amazing to be trusted like that, and obviously if it was terrible, then they just cut it out. So it's also a very safe space to play.
Yeah, I love it. And what are some of the things that you enjoyed the most when you were playing Michaela?
Definitely that freedom to improvise. And I think, like I said, just I've never really well, I guess not never, but it's always fun to play a character that is so different to who you are. Yeah. I mean, look, I'd be lying if I said that there aren't parts of myself that I brought to Michaela. I can definitely be very dramatic when I want to be. I'm an actor, darling. But at the same time, she is we are quite different
Yeah.
people, Michaela and I, and it's always really fun to play a character that is so vastly different, because you kind of just get to explore this a whole new world essentially, and you get to kind of create this whole character and just really live in that character's skin and like enjoy that. So yeah, I think that was really, really fun. Sarah just commented, and you love glitter. I do not love glitter. That is one thing that Michaela and I do not have in common. Michaela is very glittery. She's very... it's funny because the wardrobe, I love Michaela's wardrobe. That was another thing that I loved about this show, is that every day I got to come to work and just be so comfortable, because all of the outfits that they chose are like really cute and fashionable, but they're also really comfy. Having said that, Michaela and my wardrobe could not be more different. She is like sparkles and glitter and color and fashion, and I'm like black. That's all I wear, or sometimes blue. Like that. And so yeah, it was even that was just really fun to kind of come to set, put on these clothes, and just step into this whole other person and character. And the last thing I'll say about that is that Michaela's graphic tees could win awards. It was so exciting to come to set every day and see the shirt that the costume department had picked out, because they found all of these graphic tees was just the most hilarious. Like, I'm trying to think, taking down the patriarchy as my cardio was the one on the very first day I arrived, and like that's the shirt that they had for me, and I was like, yes, this is it. And I had all of these little like what do you call them, pins? Yeah. The one was this juice carton, and on it it said men's tears. You know, like that's just who Michaela is, and it was just really fun to like play.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved it. And I mean, and as I was saying here, I did love. I mean, I was just laughing a lot.
Good. I'm really.
It was really cool. And yeah, as I was saying, like that first episode, I was like, that's so cool. And like how Michaela, you could say that he has like this psychotic side that every now and then we'll go outside and you're like, oh, and it's just and then she would be like, but anyway, and you're like, okay.
You're like, we're not gonna just skip past what you just said. I think it was really fun too, in that I think all of the characters do this, but I think Michaela as a character also kind of builds. You know, you meet her at first and you're like, oh, I know who this person is. And then as the episodes go along, you're like, wait a second, hold on, what? Now you're talking about setting up like an autonomous zone in Portland. You know, like it's just, and I think all of the characters do that in a sense. You kind of get to know them more and more as the series goes, and hopefully it feels like you're sort of stepping into the world and stepping into this new group of friends who love each other, maybe, question mark, you know?
Yeah, why not?
Maybe yeah, sure. Yeah.
And like, can we expect more from Michaela in the future?
You know, I really hope so. We haven't had any official announcements yet, but I would love to continue playing her and to explore more of her backstory, and you know, why she is the way that she is, who she is outside of the office. Because I just feel like she has this whole secret life going on, you know? There's no way that she is an accountant and that's all she is. So, yeah, not that there's anything wrong with being an accountant, I should say. One of the biggest kind of points of the series was the people who created it were accountants, and they were like, people have this idea of accountants as just these like boring people who come to work and do math and then go home, and like that's not at all the case. So part of the series was just to say like, accountants are awesome, and let's talk, you know, like let's explore that more. But anyway, I really hope we get to dive more into.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I do. It's so interesting that right for a show, sometimes some of the characters, they kind of deserve. I mean, you want to know more about it. You know, you want to know like more about it. Like, okay, like are we gonna have like a backstory? You know, like why she was starting like to be like that. You know, that would be cool. That if at some point they could make that would be pretty interesting.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think also her. Definitely one of the highlights of the series was getting to work with Pete Gardner, who is just hilarious and incredible and an amazing human, and an incredible improviser, etc., etc., etc. And you know, the relationship between his character and my character is so fun and something that I think would be awesome to explore more. So that you know, hopefully we get to see more of them.
Let's hope that.
Yeah.
And my last question here is,
yes.
What can we expect from Amy in the future?
Well, I'm gonna have to be a little bit like what's the word, like shady with this question, because I do have like some exciting news, but I'm not allowed to say anything about it yet.
Yeah, I got it.
But when I can, you will be the first to know. But yeah, so some exciting things coming up. But in the meantime, I have just been invited to join Peak, P-E-E-Q, which is this really cool new platform, and a place where I'll be able to like put out some content and content, you know, related to acting, but also content related to accent work, which I love accent work, and have had the awesome opportunity to kind of start to I don't know, chat about accent work, I guess you could say, online, and start to like coach accent work, which is amazing. So I'm going to be starting to put content out there. And I'm definitely not the best person to explain Peak and explain what it is, but if you check out Join Peak, there's a lot to explore. So yeah.
That sounds like a plan. I love it. I mean, yeah, I love it. I mean, I just can't wait to see more of your awesome work in the future. As I said before, I do think you're super talented, and the fact that you are, you're just basically killing it. I mean, right now with PVC, that is super cool. I mean, I do encourage everyone who's watching this later or listening on Spotify or Apple Podcast to make sure to watch this. I mean, it is super cool. It's definitely worth a while and it's awesome, basically.
Thanks, Dan. Yeah, it was awesome to work on.
Yeah, and also. I want to thank those watching this right now. Thank you so much for watching this. It is awesome. Also, if you're watching this later, either here on Instagram or later on YouTube or listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure that you're following Amy. If you already do, fantastic. What we're going to do now, we're going to make her viral. You know, let's make sure everybody knows about this amazing, talented actress. # Team Amy right now.
Hey, and then Amy. I like that.
Yeah. And then later on, let's get some shirts with that. You know, let's make Amy viral because she's super cool and awesome. And again, Amy, before I send you off, I need to send you off properly in an epic, awesome way. So, thank you. And again, thank you so much. Also, don't forget to join PEQ. Join it right now, and keep killing it, Amy. And I'll see you in the next one.
Amazing. Thanks, Dan. Bye.
Bye.